All right. So today we're going to talk about mixed voice. We're going to talk about enunciating through that. I know I've had a lot of students lately that are asking me specifically to cover this, so that's why I'm here. If you'd like to learn more about these things, if you're having trouble with these things, or just mixed voice in general and you need more information, then come join me and we'll have a chat about it. All right, so let me start out by saying that if you do enjoy the content I'm making and you enjoy learning about these things and you want to learn more, I make exclusive content for Patreon, and the people that support me over there are helping me to stay alive and make music and make the things that I care about in life. So definitely appreciate that. If you want to learn how to make music, mix, record, I give all kinds of things about that, all kinds of tips, and make videos about that exclusively as well. Also, I just made a calendar on my website, sterlingrjackson.com. If you'd like to book a lesson with me, you can do so right through that. You don't need to reach out via email and ask me about it and all that. It will display your time zone, and you can see times when I'm available and all that, and you can pay right through the site. All those great things. So let's talk about this stuff. Now, starting out of the gate, one thing you have to understand that should be relatively easy to comprehend, but you need to keep putting into practice so that you can understand what it feels like on a physical level, is that singing in and of itself is the elongation or the elongating of vowels. It might sound stupid, but the more you understand that and get to understand that on a physical level, the body, is my opinion, will help self-correct as you move forward. As you build a foundation, you learn how to breathe, you learn how to diaphragmatically support, you learn how to place your vowels, and you learn how to sing, actually sing. Your body will continue to correct you when you veer off the path because it'll become more and more unnatural. Mixed voice is something that definitely feels rather unnatural, but when you're trying to sing through it and enunciate through it and all those kinds of things, at least build enough of a foundation so you can kind of retract and go back to that place and be like, okay, I'm building from here, how do I get to here? Instead of just being like, I want to learn how to sing high, and then you have no idea how to do anything else. So, and we have plenty of people coming to me for that, and I know it's a very common thing, and I probably did a little bit of that too, but then again, I was somebody that was never trained. So, okay, when I say that, if I say a sentence like, hey, how are you doing? If I were to sing that or make that singy, once again, logically, it would be, hey, how are you doing? And that wonderful thing I just sang is now sung or singy because I elongated those vowels. Now, I suppose you could try to elongate consonants and stuff too. How are you doing? S's, and that's not going to work. So, like I said, keep that in mind. Now, knowing that, as you practice specific scales, as you practice specific sounds, a lot of times one of the most beneficial things, even if you're working on screaming, is to go through your vowels. Simple as this. A-I-O-U. Recognize that in your chest voice, it's a lot easier to enunciate your vowels. In your head voice, it's going to change maybe pretty drastically because your throat is elongating itself, it's shaping itself in a different way, and we can't enunciate the same way. Notice that had more of a consistent one kind of quality to it. It's placed in one kind of way where it can't move as much, and it has to maintain more of a shape. Does that make sense? So you can go through that simple enough with yourself, but the higher you go in your range, the more you're going to have to shed vowels and the more you're going to be left with a lesser palate, so to speak. That really comes into play now when we're getting into mixed voice, especially for people that are just getting into mixed voice. And the important thing here to take away from this video, if you are just getting into mixed voice, is that you're probably going to start off with how many vowels? One vowel. So what does that mean? It means as you find mixed voice, you're going to start with one vowel. You're not going to have a whole bunch of vowels. You're not going to be able to move around and have a bunch of different sounds. You're going to have one sound. I had that. A lot of people are going to have that. You might have two sounds, and one might be easier than the other. And when it comes to staying in that one sound, hopefully this is making some sense, I'm not losing you. When it comes to staying in that one sound, I was stuck in that one sound for like probably months, 3, 4, 5 months. I remember doing these scales along with this program I had downloaded, and they would do different things like medium mix and light mix and stuff. I couldn't do any of that. I could make one sound. So keep that in mind. Another reason why I like to always kind of say, be gentle on yourself, allow yourself time to grow. It's the same thing as going to a gym. The muscles need to acclimate. You need to acclimate to the coordination. Just like, if you're trying to learn how to do a handstand in a day, and then you're going to get super pissed off at yourself and get upset because you can't do it. Like, dude, it's going to take some time. You gotta learn this whole kind of balancing act, and that's what the mixed voice thing is. So let's move into this. If you're finding mixed voice, or you found a little bit of mixed voice, hopefully you already know what I'm talking about. I like to go about it by teaching the cry technique or a lot of different things. Sometimes it's about lower larynx, sometimes it's about this or this or this. But in this case, let's just talk about the cry technique. If you remember that, or you've seen a video on that, or you've seen other people's videos on that, you know that we're trying to find this cry-y type of sound. And keep in mind too, everybody keeps coming to me with, am I in mixed voice? And I try to find this, and I feel like I'm in a different sound. I feel like it's what you're saying. Most important fundamental thing about mixed voice is starting in chest. Always start in chest. When in doubt, start in speaking voice too, meaning start right where I am. Not some weird thing that you're tying all together, or distortional, or vocal fry. Just for right now, start in chest voice. Then apply your cry mix, whatever you're finding, and can you glide up, and can you glide back down to almost the top of your head voice range and back down. So meaning you should not be starting in some like, that's my mix. It's not. You need to start in chest and remind yourself, there we have mix. Make sense? So keep that in mind. Now, if you just heard me make that sound, I'm going to show you, like I said, the way I learned this again. So this is going to go right over my bridge. When I learned this, I was making a sound like this. No support, no anything happening other than making that sound. And once I got better at making that sound, I started getting a little bit better at manipulating that sound. But once again, that was my vowel. Ah! So when you go up this way, some people know that I talk about holding a ball shape in the mouth, which is very crucial and very important, and it definitely gets into this enunciation, which we're going to talk about. As we try to learn how to enunciate in singing, if you imagine you're holding like a super ball like we used to buy when I was a kid, back in my day, it's a ball about this big. We're holding that in the middle of the mouth. A-E-I-O-U. We're holding that there. Enunciation happens lightly right here in the front of the face, right here in the front. We're trying to keep the jaw relaxed as much as we can. And we're trying not to really change that shape much. So if I go from A to E, for example, I'm taking that ball immediately and going and squishing it, right? So pinning the lips here. We do not have a reason to go horizontal. I know inflection and emotion, all those things are going to come to play at some point. But we're trying to learn how to physically do these things so that we can then bring emotion into them. Same as guitar, drums, bass, piano. Emotion and being able to display that is going to come a little bit after we get some muscle memory going of how to physically do these things. Then we can start to go into our mind or into the emotional space and start to emote through these things. But it's harder to emote through them when our body's like, what are we doing? And we don't know what's going on. So that was funny. Anyway, now, holding that ball shape. If you think about it like a round shape, as we go higher, like I said, we're going to have less vowels. We're going to have less access to vowels. We're going to move into more of a consistency in one sound, or kind of an amalgamated version of all those vowels trying to be in one space at one time. I want you to start thinking in terms of mixed voice like you're holding a square block in the mouth as we go up. A, This might not help you. The visuals help some people, not so many other people. But holding the ball, or you can, like I said, imagine holding a square block, because we're going to flatten out a little bit up here. We're going to imagine this up here on the hard palate in the back going a little bit flatter. So as we move higher, remember, again, we have that one sound that we're getting to. Ma, A. I'm still getting over cold. So now, I'm going to try to put an E through that. What do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to get an A. E. Can't do an E. There's my E. E. Part of this is because we're elongating the vocal tract down this way. So everything is pulling itself this way. If you want to also imagine another visual, we're pulling the voice up like this, like a string is pulling straight up. So we're moving straight up like this. That's another reason why E doesn't work, because E goes this way. E, like this, and that doesn't work. So we vowel modify, and we change it to a vertical. Let's try oo. These are called vowel modifications, by the way. Do you need a list of them? No. This is a physical thing. You can feel it. Ooh, ooh, goes kind of the same way, like this. Ooh. So I would change that vertically. Ooh. But let's take it and mix it into that cry sound again. That cry. So if I take ooh, ooh, how about A? A. How about E? A. Do you hear much of a difference in those vowels? I hope this is starting to make a little bit of sense. I know I've been scattered and talking about a lot of different things, but you can hear how these are kind of modifying and changing themselves. Let's do it in terms of sirens, because they're easier to understand. And then you can modify with me. Remember, pinning the lips here, thinking vertically. Everything happens vertically. Yay! Hey! Yo! Everything goes like that. This isn't a neat thing I came up with. This is a thing across the board that many people will be teaching you about if you're learning opera, classical, R&B, rock music. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter if you want to sound heavy. Doesn't matter if you want to sound light. This is all the same across the board. This is what the physical instrument is wanting you to do. So if we take octaves like this and we slide, take A again, since that's where we kind of were, and we're thinking box, we're thinking oh super, it doesn't matter. We can try to go low larynx and yawn, which might help you, or we can try just straight up cry and put the face in there. But see if we can get there. But once again, listen to the sound. That's enough of that. E. E modifies to A, modifies to the same sound. Once again, if you're only starting out with this, go back to the same sound. So transition from your E into which you're going to hear me basically kind of do the same thing. I might be able to use more muscle and get a little bit of a different sound than you, but still we're basically going to the same place. E. So let me try to show you with E again. E. Any of that E. Can't do it. And I'm not exaggerating that just to prove a point. E. Can't do it. E. If I tell students this sometimes, imagine you're going through a Y, like turning a knob. E. With almost all these vowels, that kind of works. A to O. E. A. O. A. That yeah is pulling me down physically like this. Yeah. So I'm kind of going, yeah. So what are we doing? E. E. One more for this one. I should be nice and vertical already. I is a great vowel. Doesn't matter though, we're still going to the same sound. Is this making sense? If you feel a physical engagement of the jaw, know that most of the time you're going to be dead in the water. It's not going to work. Tends to also, if you feel an engagement in the jaw as you're rising through a siren or something like that, like this slide, then that's only going to increase. So kind of like holding a milk jug here, then the higher you go, the more you just go like this, and it just pulls you down. So if you're feeling that engagement, you need to lose that engagement. I've done plenty of scales like this too, but you can take one really quick here just to keep giving information, and you can do it with an E, but we can put a thumb right here in the bottom of the chin and pull the jaw down like this and try the same thing. I have this problem all the time, live. It depends on how tired my voice is from singing other people's shit, whatever the fuck I'm doing. But it does happen. And when it happens, it compounds and compounds each song. Like the muscle goes, okay. And then it's a problem. So let's do one more. Like I said, we'll do the U sound, or U, which turns into oo. Now we could go straight from chest to head. Ooh. And just shed some weight like that, but we're trying to mix, and we're trying to get a little bit of a mix that's substantial instead of just oh like that. Oh, 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 Now, let's start trying to put some words through this. As always, I'm doing this off the cuff and just teaching out of my brains. I didn't write this down, so we're going to take some words. I'm going to come up with different words. We're going to try to put those through different places in your range. Once again, hopefully you've developed a little bit of a mix or something that makes sense so that you can understand this and follow along. Otherwise, you're just going to be listening to me make a lot of strange noises. Once again, let me remind you, too, I just did O. Might sound a little bit different, but listen to similarity in spaces again. Remember, the higher you go, the more you shed it, the more it goes away. The more you cannot really say words through it, the higher you go, the more all of that goes away. Think about Mariah Carey singing in whistle voice. You cannot put any words through it. It's just sounds. Head voice, mixed voice, all that stuff enters into more of that as you go higher. Think about like Jesus Christ pose from Soundgarden. I just staring at me in the Jesus Christ pose. The lower I get, the more you can understand what I'm saying. The higher I go, it's just it's that same sound over and over again. Make sense? So yeah, I was trying to say, it's the same, right? Let's take right here over a baritone's typical bridge. Let's do. I always bring this word up. Let's sing the word great. Great. We have a G stop, glottal stop in the first part of it. G that creates this. Great. Great. If you want that T in there, happens a little bit at the very end, but try to find that place. If you have to cry into it, whatever you're doing, great! If you have to slide up to it, great! 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 When you listen to that word, can you tell I'm saying the word great? Barely. Probably context would help. But for the most part, you hear the vowel. You hear a little bit of that enunciation. That R, gr, you need to get that out of the way as soon as you can so that you can get to the open vowel. Down here, it would be a similar situation. Great, great. But but that R needs to get out of the way so that you can go back to your vowel singing. What's another word? Let's sing the word dumb, because what I just did was really dumb. Same thing. Let's go up to 2 notes. Dumb! Dumb! Let's slide on it. Dumb! Dumb! Making sense yet? Dumb! How about, let's do one more word. Let's sing the name Steve. This is getting ridiculous, but Steve, not easy to sing. So if I was down here in middle C, Steve came over to my house. Let's try it up here. This is high C. Steve! That would typically go Steve right here through the jaw. Can't do any of that, so it turns into stave. Stave! Let's slide on it again. Stave, my good friend Stave. Hope this made some sense. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask. I'm going to try to take this over to Patreon to give a little bit more information. Not that this hasn't been long enough and ridiculous enough, but hopefully some of this stuff's starting to make sense. I appreciate you joining in. I appreciate you following me. Thank you. All right, Patreon. How can we take this farther? So, let's put this into context once again with the song, which is what I kind of like to do. Now, the reason I do that is because as I teach, I know most people, including myself, would probably have more trouble remembering to practice scales and do the more boring things. So I tended to teach, a long time ago and still kind of now, where I want people to try to gather information when they're with me and then go put it into practice. If that practice for you is scales and things of that nature, that's great. You're going to have to do some of that. But a lot of people just want to fucking sing, man. They're going to get in their car and everything and then try to keep this information and keep applying it in different ways. So I like to come over to Patreon and give more information if I can without hopefully getting too redundant and saying the same things over and over again. But also because I know most people are not going to sit down with a piano or something like that. They're going to go try to sing songs, the songs that they care about, the songs that they love, et cetera, et cetera. Let's take Separate Ways by Journey, because that's a great song and super high. And if it's not on YouTube and it's on Patreon, I can actually play these things. Okay. God, computer's being really pissy today. Separate Ways. Now, if you're trying to do something like this, hopefully now as you start to hear it in yourself or hear it even in my voice, you'll start to connect some of these pieces like, oh yeah, like you don't have a full palette of vowels anymore. They're kind of going away. You're left with kind of like 1 or 2. So that means as we continue to talk about the pocket, as we continue to talk about placement, having a locked-in kind of placement and stuff, it becomes more and more important, and it should become more and more apparent what you're able to utilize. But keep this idea in mind, again, about kind of ventriloquist type of thing where you're just using a little bit of this front of your face to enunciate and then leaving everything else as open as you can. So if we listen to a second of Separate Ways, hopefully this is the right one. Oh, we can watch the video. I have to buy the video? No. So it is in F minor. So, here, hopefully you know the song. Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken and toe. So, right there, we have 2. Ooh, it makes you want to go towards head voice. It pulls tension into the neck. So I can try to get 2 in there, but it's going to turn into toe, if you didn't already notice. Toe. Especially for a baritone, it's harder for me to get 2 in there. Go with what your body's allowing you to do. Remember that if you're starting to pull in tension, it's probably already going to start wearing you out. Remember the milk jug analogy, in that you're going to start going like this very quickly. So pay attention to what you can do. If you're practicing with a mic, get right up on that motherfucker. Get right on your mic. Words apart, hearts broken and and so that you can really hear yourself, and so you can really kind of go with what your voice is giving you instead of worrying about projecting and belting and all this kind of other stuff. So that's a high B. Toe! So we can slide up to it. Toe, 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 toe. Now try to put ooh in there if you can. That'll come from the bottom here. Toe, toe, toe. You can see my physical body instantly changes, and it's hard for me to do. He can do more of it. The higher your voice is, the more you can get your enunciation in. That should be logical by now, right? Sleepless nights, worlds apart. Oh, shit. Sleepless nights. Hang on. Let's find more of the lyrics. Separate ways lyrics. I know I've overstayed my welcome here. I've been talking for too long, but sleepless nights, losing ground, I'm reaching for you, you. Same thing. So let's try to go through it again. Here we stand. Ready to stand. We should be moving. It's an F sharp. Stand. You should be pulling cry into there. Worlds apart, hearts broken in two, two, two. Sleepless nights, losing ground, I'm reaching for you, you. I'm already tired. I've been singing a lot of stuff today. Feeling that it's gone. Let's try to do that, and then we'll move on here. Feeling that it's gone can change your mind. So it's those notes right there. Feeling that, feel. So I'm instantly in that pocket again. Feel, but I can't say feel. Feel, feel, feel. Feeling that it's gone can change your mind. If we can't go on to survive the tide, love divides. So you see how I'm going like this? Love divides! Love divides! Underneath that, you should perfectly hear, is that. That's that, because that's all I can sing up there. Love divides! If I pull any jaw, again, I'm getting worn out. Love divides! Love divides! So, hopefully some of this made sense. I threw this together, and hopefully it wasn't too all over the place. But the nature of some of this stuff is so kind of complex that it's hard to kind of pin down the exact, thing to do or the exact thing to practice. Just try to cultivate the information and then try to figure out how to utilize it. And like I said, give yourself time to develop this. The best thing I can tell you to do, aside from this last thing, is that if you're having trouble, go to one vowel, then lightly try to put those words back in. You've heard me do this before, but if I sing love divides, ma, 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 it's almost the exact same thing once I say love divides. Ma, 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 love divides, love divides, love divides. The more I can go like that and actually go vertically and puppet my mouth, the more I can start to get more enunciation. Love divides, but it's still underneath all that. So I will see you soon, and I'm gonna go make some videos now, hopefully about breaking down songs and mix, because it's been a while, but I am back. I'm not as sick. Life is happening. See you soon.